All right, good afternoon and welcome back to our channel Prince's Seat. We want to appreciate God for everything that He has done for us. This afternoon, we got a message, a passionate appeal to the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Olayemi Cardoso, through the branch controller of Central Bank of Nigeria, the CBN in Niger State. And this was actually written by one Mr. Amusa Tajuddin Lasisi. You know, it was a passionate appeal that went to the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. I'm going to get across to us everything he wrote in this, and then our perspective in this vein, based on understanding of the current trending issues at a time like this. So this is what it says, just still in the same spirit of getting out this fund. Please listen diligently to the end, and I think this should be shared across all our platforms. When you get this, ensure also that you transfer this to some other persons that need to hear this. It's going to really get along until it gets to the appropriate organs. All right, this is what it says. This is a letter today written the 24th of November to the governor of Central Bank, Mr. Olayemi Cardoso, through the branch controller, Central Bank of Nigeria, Niger State. Dear sir, passionate goodwill appeal to speedily disburse United African States UAS grant to Nigerians so as to end the unwarranted poverty, instigated kidnappings, armed banditry and related criminalities in Niger State and other affected states of the nation. Mr. Governor, sir, the above subject matter humbly apply. Earlier, about Monday, 13th May 2024, through a publication titled President Tinubu's Renewed Lost Hope on Grantnomics, published then in the Nigerian Guardian newspapers, I lauded the immense contribution of Sir Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the federal government in overseeing the administration of the United African States grant aimed at empowering teaming Nigerian grant subscribers financially through direct cash donation with a view to eradicating poverty and ameliorating standards of living accordingly. However, sir, to this day, grant stakeholders and handlers in the vein of Sanctuary Wealth Multipurpose Foundation, chaired by Apostle Professor Ken Nwakama, whom currently fronts for several Nigerian grant subscribers, is yet to deliver this much anticipated UAS grant to the intended beneficiaries owing to factors that we are always informed are associated with bureaucratic bottlenecks, political constraints and administrative obligations either in your bank, CBN, or in other sister government ministries, departments and agencies, MDA, thereby stalling the timely release of the UAS grant fund to his foundation since 2023 for onward disbursement to the intended beneficiaries. Meanwhile, sir, existing records available to me highlights that the UAS grant fund was fast-tracked to Nigeria for disbursement through the help of Professor Abraham Brima and Ms. Mbua Beatrice Odudu, all of blessed memory, and was due to have been disbursed since 2026. Sir, the implication of the continued delay and non-disbursement of this UAS grant fund is that mass poverty, which it is meant to eradicate, lingers in Nigeria, with all attendant consequence of perpetuation of different forms of criminality in the society, all for the sake of surviving. Sir, you will permit me to inform you that lately banditry and kidnapping has engulfed a large swath of northern Nigeria, with Niger State cited at center of the northern geopolitical zone, emerging a fertile ground for regular bandit attacks and kidnappings, all occasioned from the high level of poverty and material deprivation in the north. A couple of days ago, bandit attacks in Agwara local government area of Niger State had scores of female students in a Catholic school kidnapped, mandating the Niger State government to shut down all primary and secondary schools in the state immediately. Sir, the baseline premise in all of this points to the fact that there is an indisputable study correlation between poverty and criminality, or better put, banditry. Therefore, eradicating poverty through grant disbursement equally amounts to rooting out criminality to its barest. In your distinguished capacity as the chief banker of the nation, I believe you know this far better than I do. I am an engineer, not a banker. Sir, you will permit me to bring to the fore that several grant permissions, or pessimists, pessimists have always doubted the possibility of the success of a great grant disbursement project of this magnitude, citing cynical reasons that they believe no government of a nation would want its citizens to be financially buoyant. Reasons that are buoyant and stable, because so doing can prevent them from accepting offers of a government jobs, or possibly financing rival political parties in the forthcoming general elections, and worst still, exiting the country to other developed countries in search of greener pastures. Sir, alluding to this passionate goodwill appeal of speedily disbursing the United African States grant to expectant Nigerians, we prove all these conspiracies, theories, and fallacy wrong, discarding them completely afterwards. Sir, I am an ardent believer of Sir Bola Ahmed Tinubu, not necessarily because he emerged Nigerian's president in 2023 or because he is a Yoruba man like myself. No, sir. My firm belief in his extraordinary capacity to deliver stems from the strength of his political philosophy and ideology. He is a progressive, by which I mean he ultimately represents anything that shall progress the nation and people of Nigeria. Money earned by Nigerians legitimately through grant disbursement symbolizes progress. Mr. Governor, sir, I believe you understand the plights of expectant beneficiaries and Nigerians looking up to the government to help them get this much anticipated grant in their bank accounts. I also equally trust that you know how so much grateful we shall be to you, not just to the president, but your person and office. More importantly, the security, economic, and counter-terror, etc. implication of making this much anticipated UAS grant disbursement happen. You will change Nigeria's historical economic narratives in a manner we've never had in this country since independence and political emergence in 1960 to date. Finally, sir, I thank you, considering my firm belief in your capacity to dispose any existential bottlenecks delaying the UAS grant disbursement and have the needful done speedily. Yours sincerely, Mr. Amos Tajuddin Lasisi, B. Engineer. Sorry, I was having some break there in transmission just because the content was so small, so very, very little, and I just had to strain my eyes to get all of those messages out. All right, so that was a letter from Mr. Amusan Tajuddin Lasisi, a freelancer, researcher in MENA, an engineer, also to Mr. Olayemi Kadoso, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, through the Central Bank branch controller in MENA today. And the main point that was presented in that letter was, I just categorized them, into a few numbers, like 7 or 6, numbers that are very important to really take note of. The first one there was the main point presented there, which was an urgent plea for disbursement of the US grant. The writer was appealing passionately to the CBN governor to speed up disbursement of the United African States grant to Nigerians. And secondly, in connection between poverty and the rising insecurity, has to do with delayed disbursement, which has worsened poverty, and poverty is linked directly to banditry, of course, kidnapping and criminality, especially in the north. And Niger State was also highlighted as a hotspot where kidnappings and attacks have increased so drastically. Then thirdly, also that the government has already played its own part. According to him, the writer claims that the government has released the funds, and the bottlenecks is now caused by the grant handlers, the stakeholders, and certain officials, allegedly including those under Sanctuary Wealth Multipurpose Foundation. And then the historical background: according to records, the fund was fast-tracked for disbursement since 2016 through Professor Abraham Brimo or something like that, and Miss Umbua Beatrice, who are now deceased. And then the national hope of under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the writer has expressed strong belief in the president's progressive leadership, and also called on the CBN governor to demonstrate leadership by helping struggling Nigerians. An appeal for compassion and swift action was actually pushed forward to the governor to eliminate all the bureaucratic obstacles, as disbursing the grant is going to reduce crime, stabilize families, reduce youth migration across the country, boost the economy, restore some public trust in leadership. And he appreciated the governor in advance and expresses faith that the matter will be treated with urgency, with acute urgency. So I feel currently, after this summary and submission, I personally have my a kind of contribution to this appeal. The letter that was written by Mr. Amusan Tajuddin Lasisi was actually reflecting the true emotional temperature of a lot of millions of Nigerians who have been waiting for the UAS grant with hope and growing frustrations. And I think his message is not just a petition, it is a cry from the heart of a nation that has endured this long economic hardship, insecurity, and administrative silence. And there are some key issues that he actually pointed out in that letter that cannot be ignored. Yes, they cannot be ignored. Part of that was the poverty, which has become a national security threat. When communities can no longer survive, insecurity grows. And the writer was emphasizing on the connection between poverty, banditry, and kidnappings in a reality we see daily in many parts of Nigeria currently. And disbursement is not just about money, it's about preserving lives, dignity, and the national stability within this ecosystem. And the grant has become a symbol of hope. For countless Nigerian families, the grant actually represents school fees, medical bills, capitals for small business owners, relief from years of economic pressure, and some second chances at life, that every delay is another day of tears for households that have nothing else to hold on to at a time like this. Then, when it talks about the bureaucratic bottlenecks that must be addressed, he actually boldly highlights the obstacles that was created by some grand handlers and officials. Nigerian deserves transparency. Of course, accountability should be the watchword, and consistent updates. No initiative that is meant to uplift people should be trapped behind administrative silence or some internal interest. So it's very much important that all of these things become so transparent and it kind of brought to the public glare, because leadership has a moral duty and is very important. So it's an appeal currently to the CBN governor, which is a reminder that his own leadership is not only about policy, but about compassion. The governor and his office have the opportunity to make history at this time, to end the uncertainty and the cycle of poverty, right, bedeviling this ecosystem and Nigerians at large, and restore faith in the system. Ultimately, if this grant is properly handled, the grant has the potential to reduce crime, to stimulate local economies, to support small businesses, and to discourage some irregular migration out of the country, and finally uplift millions from extreme poverty. This is not just financial disbursement. It is a chance for national transformation to happen. So I'm not seeing this letter as an attack on any institution. It's just a plea for humanity. Yeah. It's what actually represents the voice of fathers who cannot provide for their families, mothers who cry at night, youths who have lost hope, and communities that are slowly sinking down under the weight of hardship. The Nigerian people deserves transparency, honesty, and clarity. They deserve compassion. They deserve timely action, and above all, they deserve the fulfillment of promises that have kept them waiting for years. This is Prince Isid, always standing on the behalf of the masses. In case you are new, do kindly subscribe and hit the bell. We will not stop until we see justice being done to the masses. The masses deserve better than they are getting right now. Thank you very much, and we hope that this letter gets to the CBN governor and it does the justice that it demands. God bless you, and do have a nice day.